Castle Ravenloft is without a doubt the most mechanically complex dungeon that Cryptic Studios has ever released. Without knowing each fight before they start, it's very unlikely that your group will be a success. That's where I come in. In this video I will cover every fight in detail from a Warlock's point of view. The mechanics in their entirety will be told to you, and I will show you in as much detail as I possibly can how each fight works. The dungeon starts with you at the base of the castle itself. You must fight your way up through the front gates and across a large bridge. The first boss comes pretty early in CR, the Sisters of Strahd. This fight has a couple really important mechanics specifically for Warlocks. The first and most important is Strahd's Tome. If you're playing DPS, you do nothing with the book. Your focus is on the sisters themselves. However, if you're playing Templock, most groups will ask you to pick up the tome. When holding the tome, your job is to keep the other two sisters away from the one the group is attacking. The tome will replace some of your skills with new ones that'll help you hold their attention, since it can't take damage. Left click generates threat while you hold it. The longer you hold it, the more threat it'll generate. This is the main thing you'll be using. Right-click stuns the sister you're looking at for a short time and also generates threat. The best strategy is once you have one of the sisters looking at you, simply hold left-click and kite them around the right side of the arena. Be careful to dodge the red when they spawn, since it hurts a lot and the only real way we have to heal ourselves here are health potions. The second most important mechanic is the red chain. When you hear the sisters say, "Attack me if you dare," or see red chains around the boss, stop hitting her immediately. The boss will redirect any and all damage to a party member for a short period of time. Since a large amount of Warlock's damage comes from dots that we can't stop, it's a good idea to tell your party ahead of time that you can't stop our DPS during the chains. Tell your party to simply break line of sight by standing behind one of the pillars around the outside if they're chained. They won't take any of the redirect damage if they're not in direct line of sight with the boss. Once you kill a sister, the others will attempt to harness her energy to kill the party. It's a good idea when you see the boss at low health to save your artifact and dailies for this part, since you need to kill the red blob that spawns in the middle of the arena as fast as possible. If you fail to kill it in time, it'll explode, killing everyone, and forcing you to start over. Simply repeat these mechanics for the first two sisters. The third and final sister doesn't need someone to hold the book, so the whole party can hit her. She'll also spawn a bunch of adds, unlike the other two, so it's smart to use Tyrannical Curse on her. Important side note, there's currently a bug with the second sister that causes her health bar to not appear at the top of the screen. I'm not sure why this happens, but when she's bugged like this, she takes much longer to kill, making the fight much harder.
Out here
The walk to the next boss is pretty simple. You can skip most of the mobs in the courtyard outside, so be careful where you walk. At a couple of places inside the castle itself, your party can spawn an additional mini-boss-like enemy, called the Night Terror. Killing this enemy will grant you a title, but it can be challenging, so be careful. The Animated Executioner is another special enemy that has its own mechanics. In short, he will frequently stun the group. He will also walk slowly towards a marked member with a red triangle above their head. If you're the one who's marked, be sure to stay as far away from him as you can, because if you get too close, he'll do a large overhead strike that deals massive damage.
Your kiss, sweet like poison. You know you make me reckless. I'll run, but you are friction. Your touch feels like heaven. You make me hate all my sins. You are my religion. My religion. I have a million reasons to leave you, but I have a billion reasons to keep you. I have a million reasons to leave you, but I have a billion reasons to keep you.
The second boss is the main reason most people say you need 100% armor pen for CR. He's a giant animated set of armor who acts basically like a dumb, slow great weapon fighter. It's important to note that this room has 4 large pillars around it. If your tank dodges or blocks one of the boss's hits, he'll start to spin, dealing massive damage and not be able to be damaged himself. If this happens, the party must drag the spinning Hulk to one of the pillars until he crashes into it. He'll stop spinning, break the pillar, and be stunned for a short period of time. It's important to note you only have 4 pillars to work with. If you run out, you'll have to wipe and start again.
Good morning, eyes open, I can see the light shining through. Good morning, blinds open, I'm coming home to you. Soft with the weather, cool with the breeze, flip through the pages of
It's a long walk to the next major mechanic, and it's mostly just mindless trash clearing.
the sea. Roll like a lion, living wild and free. Just like that, snap my fingers. Just like that, dreams get bigger. Just like that, paint a picture. Just like that, just like that, just like that. Just what you want, you have it. Just like just like that.
In this room, it's very important you don't hit anything. Simply run to the back and interact with the altar. This will kill all of the vampires.
Anything you want, you can have it. Whatever you need, you can grab it. Just like anything you want, you can have it. Whatever you need, what you need. Good evening, eyes closing. We can see the stars shining through. Good evening, blinds closing. It's just me and you. Soft with the weather, cool with the breeze. Flip through the pages of reality. Float like a feather out to the sea. Roam like a lion, living wild and free. Just like that, snap my fingers. Just like that, dreams get bigger. Just like that, paint a picture. Just like that, just like that, just like, just what you want, you have it. Just like. Just like that. Just like
The Sun Sword overrides your skills with new ones, and will increase your damage output by a lot. It's important to note that the party gets a damage resistance buff based on how many people have held the sword. Most parties will stack this by trading off who holds the sword and then giving it back to the main DPS. Only pick this up if you're stacking the buff or the main DPS. Templocks don't get to hold the shiny stick. It's important to know the abilities of the Sun Sword. Holding right click will make you start spinning. The spin deals a massive amount of damage, but it'll stun you if you continue to spin for too long. This skill does the most damage per second, and it's in a large AoE, so you'll find yourself using this a lot. It takes a couple tries to get used to the stun timing, but once you do, simply let go of the mouse before you get stunned, and spin again. There's no cooldown. Your Q simply heals yourself and your party. It'll also fill everyone's action points. Your E is a dash. This doesn't do enough damage to justify using it over right click, although it can be handy when you need to get somewhere very fast. Your R is a Great Weapon Fighter style IBS. Simply stated, it's a large overhead strike that deals massive damage. Your spin is better though, so mostly just use that. Your left click is mostly useless. It doesn't do as much damage as your right click, so it's almost never used. With sword in hand, it's time to fight your way to Strahd's tower. It's pretty mindless trash clearing again, but it gives you some time to learn the new skills the sword gives you.
gently glowed, the spark took to the close. The flames kept on rising higher. They stood in the fire, they burned with desire, love and emotion. They danced with devotion. They stood in the fire, burned with desire, love and emotion.
The Strahd fight is an interesting one. It's all about shared damage and a high amount of damage resistance. The main strategy right now is just to simply stack together in the corner of the arena. Strahd will do a massive amount of AoE damage, and it's important to have a well-composed group with lots of damage resistance. Strahd has a couple mechanics, the most obvious of which are small red balls he will spawn around the room. These will explode, dealing large amounts of damage. If your team is stacked inside this though, you'll take less. Don't run from these. Stand in the red together as a team and you'll take less damage. Splitting up can kill members of the party if they don't have enough damage resistance. The rest of his mechanics will happen in stages. First, Strahd will curse the Sun Sword, causing you to drop it. You can't pick it up until the curse fades, after completing another mechanic.
Something more, heat dries out the skin. As their patience grows thinner, thinner than before. As they walk.
During this phase, and throughout the entire fight, Strahd will dash across the room, knocking down everyone he hits. These are pretty easy to dodge, as you'll see him along the wall making an X with his sword before he dashes. Next, Strahd will pick a member of the party to be teleported to another arena, below the first. They're trapped down here until the party can kill 4 elites in the arena above. The best strategy down here is to run out a large circle, hitting the enemies if and only if you need lifesteal.
In the fire, burn with desire, love and emotion. They dance with devotion.
After killing the 4 elites, the curse on the Sun Sword should fade and the party member should be teleported back to the arena. Pick up the sword in the middle and run back to your group. The ground will pulse with red rings from the center of the room. Quickly stack with the rest of your party around the outside of the room. Cast Pillar of Power to increase everyone's DR, as Strahd will crash down, pushing everyone back and dealing damage. Finally, you'll be able to damage the boss. After getting a couple hits in, the cycle will repeat and Strahd will disappear.
Live 17 floors up, and when it rains, I can feel those drops in my window pane. Lets me know that I'm still here. But when the sun comes out, I will go outside. When it breaks through clouds, I will give a smile. Lets me know that I'm still here. Sometimes I want to run away.
When you finally get him to around 20% HP, he'll pull everyone to the center of the arena. When he does this, the sword holder must wait until the right time and then use their daily to put up a shield. Strahd will kill anyone not in this shield, and if the shield is used too early, it won't stay up for the full duration of his attack. A good way to judge of when you need to use the shield is to listen for the sword to tell you to raise it to the heavens. When it does, count to 5 and then use it. Castle Ravenloft is definitely the most mechanically intense dungeon to date, and there's difficulty that comes along with that. I personally love the challenge, and I love how complex the mechanics are when they're working correctly. I hope this video can help you learn how they work and how to beat them. If you're interested in more videos explaining things from a warlock's point of view, consider subscribing. My name is Charisma. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Imagine you're still by my side, lets me know that I'm still here. Sometimes I want to